My boyfriend kept hiding his phone, so I tracked his location. When I pulled up to a fancy restaurant, I saw him laughing with someone he swore was just a friend. I walked over, kissed his cheek, and said, "Mind if I join?" His date's jaw dropped, and so did his. Alex and I had been together for 3 years. We met at a mutual friend's party in Chicago and hit it off immediately. He worked in finance, and I was in marketing. Our demanding jobs often left us exhausted, but we always made time for each other. At least, that's what I thought. Over the past few months, Alex became increasingly protective of his phone. He'd angle the screen away from me, take calls in another room, and his text notifications became mysteriously absent. When I asked about it, he'd dismiss my concerns, attributing it to work confidentiality. One evening, as Alex was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message preview popped up. "Can't wait to see you tonight." My heart sank. I didn't recognize the number. A mix of nausea and anger washed over me, but I decided to gather more information before confronting him. The next day, I installed a location tracking app on his phone. I know it was a breach of trust, but I needed to know the truth. That Friday, Alex told me he had to work late. I nodded, feigning understanding, but inside, I was seething. Watching his location, I saw he was nowhere near his office. Instead, he was at a fancy restaurant downtown, Le Jardin. Without hesitation, I grabbed my coat and hailed a cab. When I arrived, I scanned the dimly lit room and spotted Alex at a corner table, laughing with a woman I didn't recognize. She was touching his arm, leaning in close. My vision blurred with tears, but I steadied myself. I walked over, heart pounding, leaned down, kissed Alex on the cheek, and said, "Mind if I join?" Both of them froze. The woman's jaw dropped, and Alex turned pale. This is," he stammered. I pulled out a chair and sat down. "I'm Alex's girlfriend. And you are?" She looked between us, flustered. "I'm Jessica, a friend from work." "Just a friend?" I raised an eyebrow, because from where I stood, it looked like more than that. Jessica grabbed her purse. "I should go." "No," I said firmly. "Stay. Let's all have a chat." Alex looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. "I can explain." "I'm all ears," I said, crossing my arms. He sighed, rubbing his temples. "Jessica and I have been seeing each other for a few months. I didn't know how to tell you." Tears welled up, but I refused to let them fall. "So, instead, you lied and snuck around?" Jessica stood. "I'm sorry. I didn't know he was in a relationship." I turned to her. "Well, now you do." She nodded, muttered an apology, and left. I faced Alex. "We're done." I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor, drawing attention from nearby tables. He reached for my hand. "Please, don't make a scene." I yanked my hand away. "A scene? You haven't seen anything yet." Leaving him there, I walked out, head held high, though inside, I was crumbling. The following weeks were a blur of pain and anger. I moved out of our shared apartment and leaned heavily on friends and family. The betrayal cut deep, but I knew I deserved better. To anyone reading this, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And always remember your worth. No one deserves to be treated like this. A week after I walked out on Alex at that restaurant, I was trying to put my life back together. I moved into a small apartment near Wicker Park. It was nothing fancy, but it was mine. I spent the first few days crying, not eating much, replaying that moment at the restaurant over and over in my head. The shock, the betrayal, the way he looked when he realized he was caught. It haunted me. Then, on a Tuesday morning, my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "You don't know the whole story. Meet me. It's about Alex." I stared at the screen. My heart raced. At first, I thought it might be Jessica. But why would she reach out now? I debated ignoring it, but curiosity won. I texted back one word. "Where?" She sent the address of a small coffee shop in Lincoln Park. I got there early, grabbed a seat by the window, and waited. 10 minutes later, a woman I'd never seen before walked in. Tall, late 30s maybe, long dark hair, sharp eyes. She looked around and came straight to my table. "I'm Sarah," she said, sitting down without asking. "Alex's ex." I blinked. "What?" "I was with him for 5 years. We broke up 2 months before you started dating." I just stared at her. She opened her bag and pulled out her phone. Photos, texts, even a video of Alex kissing her, laughing with her, timestamps all overlapping with when he and I had already been seeing each other. "You weren't the first," she said, voice cold. "He does this. He lies. He builds these perfect little stories and lives double lives. Maybe more." I felt sick. How many women? I know of 4. One was pregnant. The blood drained from my face. Sarah sighed. "I thought you should know. You deserve to know." I thanked her, barely able to speak. After she left, I sat in that coffee shop for hours, trying to breathe. For women, a possible baby. This wasn't just cheating. This was something else. Something darker. I decided to dig. I started going through my old photos, receipts, messages, anything that seemed off. And slowly, I started piecing things together. There were gaps in Alex's stories, small lies I brushed off, odd purchases, mysterious charges on his cards. Things I didn't want to see back then. Then came the worst part. I found a hidden folder on my old laptop. I used to let Alex use it sometimes when his work laptop was being repaired. The folder was locked, but I guessed the password, his birthday. Inside were screenshots of conversations with other women, photos of their houses, one even of a woman sleeping that made my stomach turn. He had been tracking them, watching them. I called Sarah. She came over immediately. When she saw what I found, she turned pale. "We need to go to the police," she whispered. But we didn't know what to say. Nothing in there was illegal, technically. Creepy, yes. A red flag? Absolutely. But we weren't sure if any lines had been crossed. Then came the next twist. Alex texted me. "Can we talk? Just once? Please." I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another message. "I know what you found." That stopped me cold. I told Sarah. She left right away, said she'd call a lawyer friend. I spent that night with every light on, the door locked, a kitchen knife under my pillow. I didn't sleep. The next day, I found a letter slipped under my door. No envelope. Just a folded sheet of paper. "You think you know everything, but you don't. You were special. That's why it hurts more. Meet me. One last time. Then I'll disappear." There was an address. An old motel near the edge of the city. I haven't told anyone else yet. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to go, to look him in the eye and finally get answers. Another part of me says this is a trap, that I've already seen enough. But I also know myself. I want the truth. Whatever it is. What would you do? I didn't go to the motel that night. I wanted to, but something about it felt wrong. The handwriting on the note was shaky, rushed, not like Alex's usual sharp writing. I sent a photo of it to Sarah. She texted back immediately. "That's not his handwriting. I'd bet my life on it." That shook me even more. If Alex didn't write it, who did? And how did they know what I found? The next day, I went to the motel not to meet anyone, but to ask questions. I brought a friend, Liam, someone I trusted completely. We posed as potential guests. The man at the front desk didn't ask for ID, just smiled like he didn't care. I asked, "Have you seen this man?" and showed a photo of Alex. He nodded. "Came by last night. Didn't stay. Left something at the front desk." He handed me a sealed envelope. It had my name on it. Inside was a USB stick and a note. "The truth is all on here. I'm sorry." We drove straight to Liam's place and plugged it in. What we saw wasn't what we expected. Dozens of video clips. Hidden camera footage. Most of them looked like they were taken inside apartments, stores, even restaurants. Some had Alex in them. Others didn't. One video showed him sitting in a car, watching a woman walk into her house. Another showed him standing across the street from a playground, just staring. It was chilling. Then we saw a file titled watch__last. I clicked it. Alex was sitting in a car, filming himself. His eyes were red like he'd been crying. If you're watching this, then you found the drive. I can't explain all of it. Not really. I didn't mean for things to go this far. The women. It started with Jessica. Then it got easier. Lying got easier. I didn't know how to stop. I thought I loved each of them in some way. But it all got tangled. And then I saw something I shouldn't have. He paused, looked behind him like he heard something. "There's someone following me now. Not the women. Someone else. I think they're watching all of us." He looked right into the camera. "If you get this, don't come looking for me. Don't trust anyone." The video ended. Liam and I just sat there in silence. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. This was something else. We started rewatching the other videos, looking for clues. One detail stood out. In 3 of the clips, there was the same black SUV parked nearby, always in the background, tinted windows. I remembered once, back when things still felt normal, I caught Alex staring out the window at a car parked across the street. I asked him what he was looking at. He just said, "Nothing." But it wasn't nothing. I went to the police the next day and handed over the USB. They seemed interested, especially once they saw the playground footage, but they said it would take time. No immediate action. Typical. Then things started happening to me. My phone began acting strange. Calls dropping. Apps closing on their own. One night, I noticed my bedroom window slightly open when I swore I had closed it. The next morning, I found muddy footprints just outside on the fire escape. I moved in with Liam for a few days. Sarah and I talked daily. She told me she'd started digging into Alex's old employer and found out he'd been fired 6 months before we broke up. He never told me. Instead, he pretended to go to work every day. What was he doing? And then I got another message. No name. No number. Just 5 words. "Stop digging. You're in danger." So now I'm sitting here, writing this. I don't know who's watching. I don't know what Alex meant in that video, or if he's even still alive. But I can't stop now. Not until I understand what the hell is really going on. The warning text kept flashing in my head for days. Stop digging. You're in danger. But something inside me had already snapped. I couldn't live with half-truths anymore. I couldn't sit in fear, not knowing what was real and what was just paranoia. Sarah and I went back through the files. We noticed something new. One clip had GPS data embedded in the file. It was an address out near Naperville, a warehouse-looking building with blacked-out windows. I hesitated, but Sarah didn't. "We need to go," she said. "You want answers? They're there." We drove out on a rainy Sunday afternoon. The sky was thick and gray, the roads almost empty. We parked a block away and approached the building on foot. It looked abandoned, but up close, there were signs of recent activity, fresh tire marks, a faint humming from inside. We knocked. No answer. We walked around the side and found a slightly open service door. Inside was a large room filled with monitors, dozens of them, showing live surveillance from all over the city. Malls, streets, even people's homes. A wall covered in photos. Faces. Women. Men. Some with red X's, others circled in green. And then we saw Alex. On the far wall, his face. Big, printed photo. A label below it. Asset lost. Unstable. Sarah gasped. What the hell is this? We heard footsteps. We ran. Back through the alley, to the car, hearts pounding like war drums. We didn't stop until we were back in Chicago. Once safe, we called a journalist Sarah knew, someone who owed her a favor. We handed over everything. The footage. The warehouse address. The photo wall. 2 days later, I got a call. It was Alex. Don't trust the press, he said. You just put a target on your back. What the hell is going on, Alex? I shouted. I wanted to tell you so many times, but I couldn't. I was working with them. It started as private security. Then it became surveillance. Then it became, his voice cracked, control. He told me he wasn't just cheating. He was building profiles for a private network, tracking vulnerable people, using relationships to monitor behavior. I was part of that. At first, he picked me because I fit a profile. But then, he fell in love. That's why he couldn't keep up the lie. I tried to get out, he said. But they don't let people out. Who's they? I asked, but he had already hung up. That night, everything exploded. The story broke. Photos leaked. The warehouse was raided. Some shadowy tech firm, never officially named, was linked to illegal data mining, social manipulation, emotional profiling through romantic entanglements. I got dragged into it. Interviews. Calls. People asking if I was complicit. My face was on the news. Online commenters called me stupid, naive, a puppet. Some people said I helped take them down. Others thought I was part of it. Then one night, weeks later, Alex showed up at my door. Thin, shaking, wearing the same hoodie he used to sleep in. I had nowhere else to go, he said. I let him in. I don't know why. He dropped to the floor, crying, apologizing, broken. He admitted everything. That he picked me because I seemed like the kind of woman who wanted stability. That the dinner with Jessica wasn't even about cheating. It was an experiment, a test, a job requirement. But he got caught, and they turned on him. I ruined everything, he whispered. I didn't say anything. I just sat across from him, watching the man I used to love fall apart. The next day, he turned himself in. The fallout was massive. Charges, lawsuits, whistleblower protections. Sarah and I both testified. So did dozens of other women. It took months, but eventually, the story faded from the headlines. Life moved on. I started writing, telling my story not for sympathy, but to reclaim it. I saw Sarah often. We bonded in a strange way. Trauma does that. Liam and I drifted apart. He said I changed. Maybe I did. As for Alex, I don't know where he is now. Maybe in hiding. Maybe locked away. Maybe watching from another screen. I think about him sometimes, not with love, but with disbelief. How did I fall for someone like that? But I also know I wasn't stupid. I was targeted, used, lied to, and I survived it. That counts for something.